on, dropping out on WMNF Tampa, 88.5 FM or WMNF.org.
The opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only.
Good morning to you. Yes, you, my dear listener, my dear friend, whom I can always trust to keep your radio dial tuned to WMNF Tampa, your resistance radio station from Tampa Bay to the Gulf of Mexico, and the only cultured little radio station that Marion Wormer streams on campus. And you can stream us as well at WMNF.org. Sure as I'm sitting here, to my great joy, today is Ask Me Anything Monday. And as sure as I'm sitting here, to my great joy, today is Ask Me Anything Monday. So you, yes you are in the driver's seat. You get to pick the direction in which we go. Everybody has some medical questions or concerns for themselves or loved ones, so you know what you have to do. If you have any medical questions, just ring us up at 813-239-9663. Maddie is in the catbird seat awaiting your call and to line you up in the queue. Once again, that number to call is 813-239-9663. Or you can send an email to dj@wmnf.org or text us at 813-433-0885. Good morning to you, Dr. Harvey. AMA Monday is always a great day, so I'm going to stop my prattling on and set you loose. What have you got for us today, Dr. Fred?
Well, thank you, Bill. It's been a great week and a really successful fund drive, it seems. We made goal. I want to thank everybody who contributed to keeping this show going and to keeping the radio station going. But remember, even though we've had the fund drive and made goal for this show, the station always needs help. So anytime you can think of hitting the tip jar to help this wonderful community continue, please feel free to do so.
Absolutely, and congratulations to you for you making the goal, and we did do exceptionally well, but I don't want to talk it up too much because, yes, we do need support from the community, and I like the community turnout this weekend as well.
Yes, that was beautiful. Resistance is effective when we all hold together, and Resistance Radio is a way we actually hold this community together. The information on here helps us find solutions rather than cowering in fear from the psychosis that keeps getting thrown at us. Just listening to Amy Goodman this morning is always an uplifting experience.
You can say
that. Truly, the amount of information coming at us is rather overwhelming. And, more shootings, all the weird disinformation coming from whitehouse.gov, Christian nationalist propaganda, tariffs that are ridiculously stupid, regressive thinking about everything, anti-this, anti-that, wars on things that don't exist. The psychosis is bizarre and traumatic. America is experiencing a national trauma. We are being subject to things that have never happened before. This 24/7 bad news cycle, social media algorithms that really suck us in and keep us engaged in dopaminergic fury to find another or another person who agrees with what we're thinking about, because it seems that the world is upside down when you hear Christian people talking about their thrill of cruelty. I don't think they're really Christian, but they use the scripture as a weapon. And it's so weird to see people that I thought were loving to throw so much hate around. My insides have been turned upside down, and I think that most people's have. Watching continuous streams of lies come out is very disruptive. And when you see a threat like this, your body has a stress response, the fight or flight system, and your adrenal glands kick in, and you release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your blood flow shrinks from everything except for the core. And at the same time, there's a place in your brain. It's called the amygdala. It's the brain's alarm system. And over time, with continued stress, it grows and becomes more and more active. And it starts scanning your environment constantly for more danger. It induces a paranoid kind of state where you look for threat always. This is the programming that Fox News does for its listeners, that Newsmax and all of the weird alt-right media on social media, on TikTok, on what used to be Twitter, it's got the right letter for it, because we used to call that banned stuff like pornography and extreme violence. That's X. And so it's torturing our brains. It's torturing our adrenal glands, and it's causing us to be hyper vigilant. Empathy tends to deteriorate. That's why there's a whole push from this weird right side media that empathy is a bad thing. My word. It's just so hard. And they've actually produced a study, I think it was last year. Sometime last year. And it was called Doom Scrolling Evokes Existential Anxiety and Fosters Pessimism About Human Nature. First ever exploration of doom scrolling from an existential perspective. It pioneers the investigation of the psychological correlates of doom scrolling in two cultures. The cultures are Iran and the United States. Some very different cultures, but very similar ones, because Iran has a theocracy and the right wing is trying to build a pseudo-Christian nationalist theocracy here in America so that there's only one rule, one party. And so the doom scrolling is really associated with increasing anxiety in both Iranian and American people. And it's a significant predictor of misanthropy. What is misanthropy? Well, basically, it's negative behavior towards your fellow man. Isn't that fascinating? So we have a social media system that decreases humanity, that increases inhumanity. We might see a correlation here then with the rise in cruelty and celebration of cruelty in America and Americans. And basically this whole understanding is that it's misanthropy is associated with doom scrolling. It seems like really only in Iran. We have enough misanthropy in America already with the concentration camps that we don't need to increase it, I guess. But this suggests that prolonged exposure to negative news can contribute to the development of existential anxiety. Well, my first English paper in college when I was 19 years old, this is 45 years ago, I wrote titled "Good News?" because at that point, I was seeing basically negative news. So we have half a century of continued hammering of our psyche by the news cycle. And now it's available on our phones. And so we have a lot of stuff to dig out of here. But, we can short circuit some of the overwhelm because, we can't control these things that are going on around us. There's no way we can stop Bibi Netanyahu from murdering more Palestinians. It's his nature because he just wants to murder people, because once they're murdered, they are fearful, and then he gets control because that's what Nazis and fascists do. They want fear so they can control. But if you want to exit the cycle, If you see something that triggers you, if you're watching the news and you notice that your heart rate went up or your breathing rate went up, ground yourself. Walk outside. Put your feet on the ground, your bare feet. Bury your feet in some dirt. It grounds you. Grab a tree. It also deionizes your energy field because of the nature of the huge dipole that a tree is. You've noticed they attract lightning strikes. Well, you can have your negative energies attracted by that living tree. You can sit down in a chair and do a body scan, starting with your toes or your head, and feel how each part of your body feels. Is it relaxed or is it tense? If it's tense, breathe and let it relax. You could do breathing exercises. You could do a very simple controlled breath where you inhale, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale, counting 8. And so as you slowly repeat a 4 in, 4 hold, 8 out, you'll get control of your autonomic nervous system, which has been triggered by the bad news. Another trick is to really bring yourself present. And you can just sit in the chair and say, be present now, and repeat that as a mantra, to be present rather than lost in somewhere in Gaza worrying about something you can't fix today. And another way you can really just bring yourself right down into the present reality is to do this really cool thing I just read about on HuffPost, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Identify 5 things you see right here in your environment, 4 things you can touch right here, 3 things you hear, identify 3 sounds, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste. This will put you right back into your body, right here, right now, and lower your cortisol and adrenaline levels. All of these things are really helpful. A walk in nature, trying to actually discover the things that you notice around you in nature. The squirrel running across the street, the bird singing behind you. This morning at dawn, the chickens in the next yard were clucking away. These are things that bring you out of that doom-scrolling reality and into a better place. And I think that we can all use a little escape from this really kind of scary and very intense reality. And I think spending a few minutes here on WMNF is a way of escaping. And I'd like to invite more people to join us on phone calls today.
Well, I do have Tom, but if folks out there, if you're just tuning on in, you are listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. And you are invited to participate, actually encouraged to participate, and just give us a call at 813-239-9663. I have Joe answering the phones today. So that number, once again, is 813-239-9663. Or you can send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. So let's go over here to Tom. Good morning, Tom.
What a great
Hi, Tom.
Doc. Good to talk with you. I just heard recently that riding a bicycle brings you into presence, because you kind of have to be present to stay up on the bicycle.
Absolutely. That is very focused exercise.
And you get to see your neighborhood, smell the fresh air, smell the flowers and the trees and the pollen and whatever.
Yes.
So anyway, I got 2 comments and a question for you. Number one, I'm pleased to pass on that you can take your fermented pickle juice and put your starting to wilt celery in it, and there, after a week or 2, the celery draws up the ferment from the pickle juice, and that is a perfect snack.
Excellent. Pickled celery. I like that. Natural ferments are really, really good.
Yeah, and it's delicious, especially, and if you get the organic hummus that Aldi's has inexpensively, that celery and that hummus is incredibly delicious. And we're talking about a superfood right there.
It really is. I just discovered fermented hummus. I found it at one of the farm stands here in Sarasota. Somebody was making it locally, and they did the same thing. They fermented the whole thing with, actually, they threw in some natural sauerkraut and then let it ferment again.
I'm on it. Excellent. And number two, I have developed what I call a health triage. And and you can comment on this, but this is not my question. And that is, your health depends on if you're ill, if you're not healthy. It's one of three things has happened. Either you did something in the past that you hurt your body and you need to recover from, heal from. Or you're doing something currently that you need to stop doing so you can heal from it. And if you can rule out number one and number two, the third thing that is causing illness is you. There's something wrong with you, and that's what you were just talking about. You're focused on the wrong things. Your cortisol is way off. And that's where faith healing and laughter and mindfulness and Reiki, all of these healing techniques that have been known for a long time.
Absolutely. You make a really good point. And I think the distinction here is that healthcare is personal and illness care is impersonal. So you're describing healthcare, and truly, we all manifest our state of being. It is our choices that drive everything. So yes, when you made the choice to incarnate in this life, before you actually came into your body, you made choices in consciousness that set up a certain set of circumstances that would guide your life. As with astrology and human design, your timing and place of birth actually determine a lot of things about how you are in this world. And you made that choice before you incarnated. And then as you incarnate, you've incarnated into a world that made choices. So we have a common societal choice system. Like here in America, we have decided that it's okay to poison the food that we're going to eat while it's in the field, and then we poison it again as we're putting it into the box to sell it. And then we're okay with the companies that make the poisons that poison the food to make the poisons that poison the heart disease and that poison the cancers that are created from the poisons that we put in the food. And so there's a choice that we've made as a society to produce illness and have a sequential effect of how we deal with that reality. And then what we're doing currently, you can choose to eat the foods that are in boxes that we know are pre-poisoned, or we could choose to go to organic and sustainable things that are whole and eat those. So in your current life, you can make choices that will have you exit the societal contracts that are unwritten. You can't exit them all, though, because we've even found that glyphosate, because it's used so frequently, runs off into organic fields, and you can find glyphosate in organic wine. And so there are lots of choices that we need to start thinking about. We need to stop using capitalism as an altar upon which to worship and allow capitalist creeps to continue killing us for profit. Once we choose a different course of action, we'll have an access to health. And we won't need to worry about so much of this alternative medicine illness treatment that so many people turn to when their health deteriorates because they've made bad choices.
You are the choices you make.
You are. Yes, we manifest our lives. We are the drivers. Wake up and know it and take control of your car.
And the beauty of it is, with every breath you take, you can make a different choice.
Yes.
From this moment on, you can choose to be who you want to be. Be healthy. Be good. Choose to contribute to the community. Don't choose to be selfish. Right?
Yeah, use wonderful affirmations like I choose peace, I choose love, I choose abundance, I choose life.
Health. I choose health.
I choose health because health is life.
Choose wisely what you put in your body. Now,
Yes.
on to my question. I'm always, you know me, I'm always looking at the ways to, live forever. I've been focusing on autophagy lately.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you've given this some thought.
Well, hang on one second. Let me give it to the rest of our listeners. Autophagy, AUTOPHAGY. That means that your body is eating the damaged cells and cleaning up the mess that leads to disease.
Also known as the senescent cells, which the word senile comes from, as I understand it.
Yes.
In your brain, you have senescent cells, and if you don't clean them up, you become senile. Now I've been hearing about the MCT oils for helping with autophagy, fasting. 18 hours of fasting, I believe, triggers autophagy. I heard recently MIT did some research on breathing. Breathing can trigger autophagy. And my question to you is, do you have a top 3, 4, or 5 autophagy triggers that you either use or recommend?
Well, I like the idea of giving your body a rest from calories. So trying to maintain a 14-hour nightly fast, or time restricted eating is a good thing. Also, I've not done it. I usually get too hungry, so I do the longer daily intermittent fast, or really a time restricted eating. But if you skip a day, say you eat dinner one night and then you skip until the next night, and then start there and eat a full day's menu, that 24-hour fast is really, really helpful for autophagy too. But I also like just doing some exercise. It stimulates the body to do the right processes. I love black and red grapes. They have resveratrol in them. Broccoli has sulforaphane. Turmeric has curcumin, and green tea has epigallocatechin gallate, and all of these things trigger autophagy.
No kidding. Excellent. I'm on it. I'll nice to have the list. And are there any like supplements or nutrients? I guess the resveratrol.
Those come in supplement form for sure.
Right, and the MCT oil is why not, right?
Yeah, actually, the MCT oil I think is fine, but I don't do a lot of oil supplementation. I use coconut oil often in my cooking, and coconut has MCT in it. So what I do is just try to get whole foods and incorporate more of those in. I've really been trying to cut down the amount of supplements that I take, but I do take one called Cytokine Balance that has the resveratrol, the green tea, the sulforaphane, and the curcumin all in one pill, because sometimes I don't get turmeric that day, and sometimes I don't get enough brassicas that I want that have the sulforaphane, and so it really does. And I don't drink red wine, and so to get my resveratrol, I do need occasionally to take a little extra, because you don't always I don't really like to eat grapes off season, and so once the grape season is over, I don't have resveratrol.
Yeah, I heard it takes 1,000 grapes to make 500 milligrams of resveratrol.
Yeah, if you're going to look at the studies, it takes a case of wine a day to get to the levels they do in the studies on resveratrol.
Exactly.
But I don't believe it works that way, because all the studies they do are Western medicine oriented, and they use one line item to try and treat the whole body. That's not the way it works. You have a little bit of resveratrol from a little bit of wine. You have a little bit of sulforaphane from some broccoli. You have some turmeric that you cook the broccoli with. You have some garlic that has those chemicals in it. You have all these panoply of different chemicals that work together. That's the whole thing. It's a symphony. And when we extract ourselves from the symphony and do extractive therapies, we get different results from actually living in a real life.
Right. And in conclusion, do you think that autophagy can be triggered if instead of fasting, you eat 0 calorie or very low calorie, like high fiber foods? A celery comes to mind. But couldn't you, wake up in the morning and eat celery all day and you'd be in autophagy?
Well, you're actually fasting there because you're just eating celery, so the amount of calories you're getting in is going to cause you to start metabolizing differently.
That's my point.
So juice fasting sort of works that way, but it throws some sugar on board, which tends to alter the results. So doing a water fast is actually better for only 24 hours. I don't think that long-term fasting in a toxic world is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, right. I'm with you on that. Thank you, Doc. Have a great day.
You're welcome. You too, Tom.
Right.
Thank you there, Tom. And I do have Barbara has been waiting patiently, but I want to remind folks you are listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. You're invited to participate by giving us a call at 813-239-9663. Maddie is in the control room, so give her a call. Let her patch you on through. That number again is 813-239-9663. Good morning to you there, Barbara.
Good morning. Dr. Fred 2028.
I don't need that kind of scrutiny.
Funny. I have a question regarding anxiety driving or being anxious while driving and riding in a car.
Yes.
I read where that could be caused by menopause, and I wondered if you had a take on that.
Your hormones definitely affect your mood, and many women get more anxious in menopause because their ovaries stop producing progesterone. And progesterone is a very calming chemical. In fact, it's a really, postmenopausally, it's a very excellent way to help women regain control of their circadian cycle and get some better sleep. But yes, that could be an effect of the change in your hormones. So progesterone is available over the counter, and it actually has been available over the counter for like 30 years now, since Dr. John Lee first started publishing about the benefits of progesterone back in the late 80s. And so we're looking at almost 40 years worth of progesterone being available. I don't know that that's the answer for you, but meditation is a really good way. There's some trigger that you have possibly for getting in the car, so maybe there's a trauma associated with it you could work through by sitting with the anxiety as you're thinking about it and working through it. Asking your body why. What's that?
While you're in the car?
Yeah, if you're a passenger.
Thinking about it?
Yeah, actually just feeling your feeling. Sitting with the anxiety and asking your inner being, why are you making me anxious sitting here in the car? What's going on here? It may tell you. And even if it doesn't, you may be able to sit there with it, feeling the feeling, and be able to actually allow the feeling to be there. Because the feeling's not going to hurt you. The feeling's telling you might be hurt by something, but it's not telling you what you might be hurt by. And so if you can sit with the feeling and allow it to pass through you, allow it to process, then you actually move through whatever trauma it was that's causing the anxiety.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a hard process for most people to sit through it. That's why we have medicine like Valium and Xanax, because people don't want to sit with their feelings. But if you can, it's the way to transform your life. And however, sometimes it's harder when you have hormonal imbalances, and you might benefit from a bit of progesterone. You might want to talk to your practitioner about that, because it is a valid intervention for this kind of feeling.
So there's not a standard, like on the box amount that'll tell you take this amount for daily requirement or something like that?
No, it won't.
It's not a mineral or a vitamin. It's a hormone.
Well, the stuff that they put on the vitamin and mineral bottle is made up stuff anyway. It's arbitrary. The recommended daily allowance is the amount that some group of white dudes who had white coats on one day decided this is the amount that you need to keep a 20-year-old soldier vertical on the field. That's the recommended daily allowance.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily address human reality. It addresses the need to keep a soldier vertical on a war field. So, the RDAs are weird, and I don't use them. The maximum allowance is something to consider, because we know if you do too much of certain things, you might get ill. Too much zinc, too much copper. We don't want to be taking a lot of those necessarily, but some is not a bad idea.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess you can't really say how much without having more information.
Well, the way I guide it is I actually have my patients do hormone tests, and then I actually dose to achieve a rational level inside the body. And then I recheck the hormone levels to see if we've actually hit that target, but also talk to the human involved to see if they actually had a symptom change, because I don't care what the number is. If the person feels terrible, it's not the right number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of like a process.
It's an art.
Weeding some things in and out, which I'm not sure my regular doctor would do that. They probably will just say, they probably would just maybe check my hormone levels. I've never had them checked, so
you might want to consider going to ifm.org. The Institute for Functional Medicine.org has a physician finder. Functional medicine doctors want to help you balance your hormones. Regular doctors, from my perspective, for the 40 years I've been doing this, don't check hormone levels. They just put you on hormones.
But progesterone is a hormone, right? Even though it's over the counter?
It is. That's the only, that and DHEA are the two hormones that are over the counter.
So if they don't have to write me a prescription for it, I could just try it and see if I feel better.
You could just walk into a health food store and probably find some progesterone in a cream tube that many women have been using for many years. You could go to a doctor and get an oral prescription for progesterone so that your sleep is better and anxiety is better, because it's a bigger dose. But you may not necessarily need that. And that's why I suggest that you talk with a practitioner to get guidance.
I see. Right, yeah. Okay, that would just be taking a stab at it, to just go buy some cream and see if it helps.
Exactly. Shooting in the dark is not my recommendation for healthcare.
Okay. All right.
Nor is my recommendation for open carry in Florida.
Yeah. Wild West.
Insanity rules, eh?
Crazy. Psycho. Yeah.
Completely. I hope they get therapy soon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Dr. Fred. I appreciate your help.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you there, Barbara. And I do have Annie and Chris and Christina on the line, but we've got about 20 more minutes. And if you want to participate on the Healthy Steps radio show here on WMNF Tampa, this is your chance to give us a call at 813-239-9663. Good morning to you, Annie.
Hi, Dr. Harvey.
Hey there. How are you today, Annie?
I am okay. I had two things I wanted to say about autophagy. For years, when I meditate, I tell my macrophages to go around my body and take care of anything that doesn't seem to be working normally.
I love it.
And I've been doing that for many years. Macrophages, they're the cells that go around and eat everything. So there's that. The other one I wanted to say was I rarely ever get colds or anything, but I ran out of vitamin C a few weeks ago, and somehow or other I just didn't get any. And I actually started to feel really funky and no energy and everything. I normally take about 500 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and I went and got my vitamin C, and I felt fine almost immediately. So I think Dr. Linus Pauling was right.
Linus Pauling was right on a lot of things, including the non-proliferation of nuclear destruction on our planet, which is probably the biggest human health threat. We're all suffering from the disaster at Fukushima. There are more and more thyroid tumors and parathyroid tumors than ever before.
I can believe it, yeah. The funny Linus Pauling story, a friend of mine was living in California, and he had a small landscaping business. And he was driving down through Big Sur one day where Dr. Linus Pauling had a house. And he went up and knocked on the door and asked Dr. Linus Pauling if he wanted his house landscaped, he would be happy to do it for him. And Dr. Linus Pauling said, "What's wrong with the way it is now? It's quite natural."
I love that.
But the other question I actually wanted to ask you is, we keep hearing that the president is in excellent health, but all he suffers for is chronic venal insufficiency. To me, that means really fairly long-lasting bad circulation. Can you explain exactly what that means?
Well, yeah, when you have venous insufficiency, some of it's genetic and some of it is due to oxidative stress. When you as a healthcare practitioner, just looking at this man, you can see that he's ill. He has these big saggy bags under his eyes. His skin is of a texture that is atrocious, kind of looks like corpse skin. And because of that, he covers himself up with this orange face paint because his skin is so corpse-like that it would frighten most people to see it. His forward stooped walk suggests that he is in pain and that he has very low energy. His absolutely wandering mind is evidence that there are short circuits happening on a regular basis. Vascular disease affects arteries and veins, so he probably has very low brain circulation. And the lies that people tell about his excellent health are simply that.
Oh, yeah. I just love the fact that they keep saying chronic venal insufficiency. A lot of older people have it, and I think that sounds kind of serious to me.
No, he's unraveling. You can hear it in his speech patterns. It's really obvious that his cognition is going, and it's really a question: is he worse than Biden at this point? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think Stephen Miller is running everything. Anyway.
Oh, there's a bunch of people in there that are running everything, and it's not just Stephen, but his horrid nature is involved in a lot of things here. But obviously I've seen patients for 40 years. The dude's ill. I don't know how long he's going to get propped up, but it's a matter of time. He's almost 80.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I know 80-year-olds that are far more fit than he is.
Oh, I have a 93-year-old client that goes to the gym 7 days a week. He's amazing. He's like Jack LaLanne, an ever-ready bunny.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Harvey. I appreciate your show. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much there, Annie. And let's go to Chris in Clearwater. Good morning, Chris.
Well, good morning. Speaking of brain circulation,
yes.
Empathy, I was calling on that. Practicing gratitude, of course, can help prefrontal cortex activity. And looking on the bright side of things, have you heard of Dr. Daniel Amen?
Yes.
Right. He's a psychiatrist who's reviewed over 250,000 SPECT scans, some of which he's made available, showing the prefrontal cortex activity. He
has a great book on the images that show how brains work in different situations.
How they're affected before and after substances like alcohol or drugs or brain trauma. Right. He says even just mild brain trauma, hitting your head with a soccer ball can cause dramatic changes. And,
Absolutely.
He writes that prefrontal cortex is responsible for focus, forethought, impulse control, and empathy. And he recommends to also, in addition to gratitude, ginkgo biloba, oregano, cayenne, beets, and these all increase brain flow. But I just, I see that I summarize what he says, that some folks are incapable of empathy, so they're just acting empathetic. It's unnatural to them, so they have to behave as if they have empathy to fit in, though they can't sustain what doesn't come naturally.
Right.
And Dr. Amen has looked at the brain scans of felons and murderers. They have terrible activity. So rehabilitation is available. I agree with him that we shouldn't go with the death penalty.
Oh, so the death penalty is one of the most useless and stupid things ever to be instituted. It does not deter crime. It actually causes damage to those who are inflicting the murder on this other person. The state and the people in the room and all the people living here, all the citizens are affected negatively by death penalties. They are hideous and need to be stopped yesterday.
Right. If it's an internal problem, the external consequences don't seem to matter.
Exactly. We should be actually really putting these people who commit these bizarre crimes into some sort of psychiatric or medical institution so we can study their genetics, we can study their toxicities, we can study them and figure out what the heck went wrong.
Yeah, and I think we could all use, every one of us could use improved brain circulation, including prefrontal cortex.
Absolutely.
Assistance. And I have a couple blogs, a mood-lifting, brain-boosting blog, and a neurogenesis blog that covers certain items that allow you to help grow nervous and brain tissue. It's on the blogs page at theliberationstation.com, the mood-lifting and brain-boosting blog and neurogenesis blog. And,
so those are really good things. And do you have a question today, Chris?
No, but just I want to finish that astrology you mentioned. I think that just shows our influences that we can overcome. It might show the cards that you hold, though you choose how to deal them.
Yes, that's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
When you study what your makeup is, you understand how you work, and you can apply that to your life. You know, how you're born, where you're born, when you're born, it actually affects the foods you're going to eat, how you're going to eat the foods, the time of day that is most active for you, the amount of time you can put into work each day. There's so many things affected by your human design that it's sad that we don't actually look more deeply into this and help people be themselves.
Yeah, and it's such a lifelong study. There are always astrologers coming out with new calculations. It's something that you could never finish studying. So,
that's science. That's why I love science. It changes constantly.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for you. Hope you have a great day.
You too, Chris. Have a wonderful week. Keep doing your good work.
Thank you there, Chris. And yes, let's go to Christina in St. Pete. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Dr. Harvey. And thank you for your wonderful intro on today's show. We really need to hear that. We needed some positivity, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I called back a few months ago. I just want to kind of recap and let you know where we're at now and ask a question. My mom was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer back in July. It was the estrogen receptor kind. She had the double mastectomy on August 26th. The pathology reports came back later that there was no cancer found in the lymph nodes, so that was good news. But she has really not slept a real night. She has not slept because they took her off the hormones, of course. And she is just...
What was she on?
She was on the patch since she's 75 years old now, but when she was in her mid-30s, she had a hysterectomy and went into post-surgical menopause. So she's
so they didn't give her any progesterone. They just gave her the patch.
They just gave her the patch, and she's been on that for over 40 years.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any progesterone in that. There's no I'm not familiar because I've never been on these things. But
Yeah, no, it's just a patch. There's no progesterone in it. It's estrogen. And because she had the hysterectomy, her doctors didn't believe she needed the progesterone, even though it actually is anti-breast cancer in this situation.
with the progesterone.
Yeah, it would have probably prevented her developing a stage 1 breast cancer.
Gotcha. So because the estrogen was so high in the patch and she didn't have that protective progesterone barrier, this is a good chance of why she might have gotten this type of breast cancer.
Quite possibly. And did anybody monitor her estrogen levels while she was on the patch and her estrogen metabolites, the ones that actually promote cancer growth?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because, in functional medicine, that's the way I do it. I think many functional medicine doctors do also. We can look at the metabolites, and there are certain metabolites, the breakdown products of the hormones in your body that happen through normal liver metabolism. Certain ones are pro-cancer and certain ones are anti-cancer. And we can look at those and we can use supplementation, dietary changes, exercise, and other things to actually, and even medication to promote a shift away from the cancer-causing ones towards the anti-cancer ones. And unfortunately, most of my previous colleagues don't follow hormone metabolite levels.
Yes, probably also since it was in the 70s and they just...
No, but she just got this now. What about in the last 5 years? Why isn't somebody actually looking at those numbers?
Right. I agree. And I've told her she does need to see a functional medicine doctor. She really does. So does this mean that, I know that, the oncologist told her recently, nobody's ever going to give you hormones again for the rest of your life. No medical doctor will.
No medical doctor will, but you might find a functional medical doctor to do so. I have a patient who had prostate cancer who's back on testosterone because he wasn't thriving without it. He's the 93-year-old that goes to the gym 5 days a week, 7 days a week.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So there might be something, when she sees the functional medicine doctors, there might be something where they might be able to perhaps, prescribe her something that's low estrogen, mixed.
No, I would suggest that they would not prescribe anything with estrogen in it because estrogen is not helpful in this situation. But progesterone might be to help induce better sleep. So I think it's, and there's lots of other things that can help with the sleep, including meditation and walking after dinner and so many different things you can try. But I would get some help.
Right. Okay.
You don't want to, in somebody with breast cancer, you don't want to make some wrong steps.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, these hot flashes are definitely a killer. They really are. But
yes,
maybe
there's other things that can help with that. Supporting serotonin helps with hot flashes. Somebody low in serotonin might benefit from tryptophan or 5-HTP, and they might not need progesterone. There's so many different approaches, and all of these things can be assessed with laboratory testing and guided accurately rather than just shooting in the dark like many people do.
Okay. Thank you. That's a good place to start from. Thank you, Dr. Harvey. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I was just thinking of something. Shooting in the dark actually is a high risk of death because you don't know what you're shooting at.
Right. Exactly. She needs to have the testing done. She needs to have those hormone levels checked without a doubt.
Best wishes with that, Christina.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Yes, indeed. Best wishes, Christina, and thanks for calling. Let's go to Gloria. Good morning, Gloria.
Hi, good morning. Dr. Fred, a quick question. I noticed lately that my toes always feel like they have grit or sand or something on them. Is that a sign of something? It's real.
That sounds like you might be developing neuropathy. Do you have a condition like diabetes?
Yes, I do.
Well, this could be early diabetes-related neuropathy, and you want to. Is your hemoglobin A1C under 6?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Do you have an A1C that's under 6? What is your hemoglobin A1C level?
I have no idea.
Every person with diabetes needs to know this number. So you have a new homework assignment. Find your doctor, find your hemoglobin A1C. Most doctors just call it the A1C. It is a sign of sugar control. If you're over 6, you're developing neuropathy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the first thing to do, more than any other intervention, is to get the sugar controlled. That is number one. Nothing else you do is going to help unless you get the sugar controlled.
Oh, okay. All righty. Normally that, what do you call it, blood sugar something? I have that taken every 3 months, and it runs about 7.5.
Okay, that is it. That's your hemoglobin A1C. 7.5 is not controlled. You need, if you don't want neuropathy to continue developing, if you want it to go away, you need to get that number under 6. You need to do a better job with diet, exercise, and proper medication.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Take care. Have a great week.
And
I think I'll go to some emails.
Yes, absolutely. Great idea.
So somebody sent in here, who is it? I think anonymous, says, I cook with coconut oil. What about avocado oil? Are there pros and cons? Well, I use a lot of different oils. I mentioned that I do use some coconut, but I like to mix it up because I like a lot of different plants. They all have different properties. So I will use extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin or cold pressed grapeseed oil, very clean oil. Avocado oil is very good also. Coconut oil is something I also really like to use. Ghee and butter are also constituents, and I also use some animal fat, like duck fat when I cook duck bacon. Yes, duck bacon is available. It's delicious, and it's not pork, and it's better for me than pork. I save the duck fat. And then I occasionally use that to cook something like turkey bacon in it, because turkey bacon has like no fat and it tastes really good in duck fat. I use animal products. About 20% of my diet is animal products, and about 80% is plant products, because that's the Mediterranean diet. And I think that we have lived with a Mediterranean style diet for so many millennia that it's the human diet. So I use quite a variety of fats because I find that our body requires a large variety of things. Another thing is a large variety of vegetables. It's really good to use microgreens because you can get 5 vegetables in a pinch of the microgreens to throw on top of your salad or on your sandwich. The more vegetables you get, 35 per week, gives you the happiest microbiome. Let's see. Oh, someone wants to know about water systems. So when I look at water filter systems, I refer people away from reverse osmosis because it wastes drinking water. You can read about that online. But really, I use a carbon block, 5 micron, followed by a resin block, followed by a 0.5 micron carbon block. There are 3 stages to the filter. You can replace all the stages. You have 2 carbons because the first big carbon is the one that gets replaced most often, because you don't want your 0.5 micron carbon getting blocked up. So I'm not going to tell you the brand, but if you look for carbon block and resin filters that do a good job with the forever chemicals, PFAS, you will find the brand that I use. And I think that if somebody wants to know how to find a functional doctor, it's ifm.org. Go to the Finder, and they have all kinds of details about these people. So read about what they offer and see who you might want to go to. Because I can't recommend which doctor is best. This is for you to decide. And I want to thank everybody again for contributing to the show last week and getting us over the top. And I want to thank Bill for in-house production, and Maddie for answering all the phones, and all you people for calling in today. What great engagement. I really appreciate this every week. It really makes my week. Thanks again.
Well, and of course, thank you, Doctor. It was a fantastic show. Learned a lot. Had a great time sitting here in the studio, controlling a little bit of it. But you directed a great show, followed by our callers, and I appreciate them for participating. We always get a great slew of people doing that. So, and Maddie, we couldn't have done the show without you. You all take care and stay healthy. You have been listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Coming on up is 5 minutes of NPR News, and then strap in and get ready for the Sustainable Living Show, hosted by the legendary guest host, John Butts. So, until next Monday at 10 a.m., thank you for supporting and listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, your community conscious radio station. Stay safe, stay thoughtful, and know that you are loved.